Hi, this is Tom English, and our last videos for geometry are going to be on transformation and symmetry. And by transformation, we're talking about transforming something, and in most cases we think of that as, oh, we're changing it. And in the case of the four transformations we associate with geometry, we were talking only one of them actually changes the size, but what we're doing is changing the orientation or the positioning of the particular figure. In this middle case, we're talking about reflection, and by reflection, think of a mirror and your reflection in the mirror, and in the case of these first two figures, the reflection would be from the y-axis. And in that case, we'd see that if C is one position to the left of the y-axis, then when we reflect it, it's going to be one position to the right. The same way with B. B is two positions to the left of the y-axis. We reflect around the y-axis, it will be two positions to the right of the y-axis. In the case of A, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's going to be four positions to the right. Now also recognize when we have two figures like this, they're identical in size, they're just rotated and maybe, or not rotated, reflected. When we label the new figure, we label it with the same vertices, but we use a prime. So A becomes A prime, B becomes B prime, and C becomes C prime. Now this one I also reflected then across the x-axis. So if we look at that, for instance, C prime is one above the x-axis. When we reflect it across the x-axis, C double prime then will be one below the x-axis. And respectively, A is 2 above, it will be 2 below. In this case, B is 4 above, it will be 4 below. Okay, the next transformation is the rotation. And this, think about it as rotating it around the 0, 0, or the where the x and y axis cross, or think of it as just rotating in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction. You can think of, in this case, all I've done is rotated it 1/4 of a turn, or 90 degrees. And when we rotate that, you'll notice that the horizontal line AD becomes a vertical line A prime D prime. The vertical line CD becomes a horizontal line D prime C prime. If we were to rotate it 180 degrees, it would be like a reflection, wouldn't it? It would be below and it would hang down this way. Translation is nothing more than sliding it. If you think of it sliding, in other words, the orientation of the figure, in this case it happens to be a square, the rotation doesn't change. What we're doing is moving it left to right, up or down. And the way we can tell how far we moved it, in this case, A is 2 above the x-axis, has a y value of 2. In the translated copy, A is now at what? 1, 2, 3, it's at a -3. So it went from a positive 2 to a -3. So we brought it down 5 positions, didn't we? But we also moved it to the right. How far to the right did we do? Well, in this case, A was at an x value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's now at 7, 8, 9, 10. So we not only moved it down, but we moved it to the right 4 positions. Again, think of it as, oh, we're sliding it. We didn't rotate it, we didn't flip it as in a reflection. We just moved it up and down. Our fourth and last transformation is what we call dilation. And dilation usually means to get, what, bigger. But you can think of an object getting bigger or smaller depending where we're starting. In this case, if we start with this circle down at this point, and it gets smaller, and you'll notice the figures are similar. That could be a triangle, could be a square. They're similar, but they change size. And in this case, if we start here with the bigger one, it gets smaller and then smaller still. Or if we were starting at the top with the smaller circle, it gets bigger and bigger still. So the four of them again: reflection, think of a mirror; rotation, think of rotating around the circle; translation, we're just sliding them around; and then finally dilation, where we're changing the size but not the shape. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is point and line of symmetry, and then that'll pretty well wrap up our geometry lessons. Thank you.